Hello, good evening. My name is Pastor Sheree Stapleton. I'm the Executive Director of Mothers of Joy Institute for Parenting and Family Wellness, and this is our Tuesday evening class. I know a lot of you are wondering, like, are you having class in person? I am. We have some of our parents here, and then we have some that are online. The reason why we're doing a bit more online is I don't know if you've noticed, but there's been an uptake of young people getting sick. And I don't want there to be any barriers within our class structure. So we will have multiple ways to be able to get to families and to be able to work with them. Okay? All right. So today is our second session on understanding emotions. Every class will have a video to go along with what we're working on, right? The reason being is because I believe that visual aids are very important and that people need something to pull from, just not to hear a lecture type conversation. If you have any questions, you are more than welcome to put them in the chat because that's how I'll be able to view what you're saying. But we're just going to go ahead and get going because time is of the essence. Please make sure that you're careful tomorrow. Those of you who live in Flint and Genesee County, we have a weather advisory that is midday, literally after 2 o'clock. If you've noticed, our weather has been very sporadic and a little different, but make sure that you're prepared for what's coming. If you need to get out, I would suggest that you do that earlier in the day and that you get you some your snacks or whatever it is that you need just in case you're not able to move around as much as you would like to on Thursday. It's not looking like it's going to happen in the morning, but it is looking like it's going to happen midday. So, without further ado, here is our video for today. And we will get started.
Hi, it's me, Jesse. I know, I look a little bit different. In this video, we're going to consider the model of emotions. This model can be a bit complex. So, I've invited a fake client, Andrea, to help walk us through an example. Andrea, why don't you tell us what happened?
So I work as a graphic designer, and a few days ago, my boss told me that I wasn't going to get to work on this one project that I had already asked to be a part of. She told me that the team was full and that there was a different project that she wanted me to work on instead. And so, like 5 minutes after that conversation, I told my boss that I wanted to quit.
Got it. And what do you want to change about this situation?
I guess looking back now, it would probably be better if I wasn't threatening to quit just because I didn't get a project that I wanted.
That makes total sense. Let's look at the model of emotions and see if we can understand what happened. First up, what was the prompting event?
I guess it was when my boss told me that I didn't get that project that I really wanted.
Just making sure. And do you think you were experiencing any vulnerability factors before all of this happened?
I didn't sleep really well the night before, so I think I was pretty tired.
I'm going to put tired under vulnerabilities. Next, what were your interpretations of what your boss told you?
Yeah, so when I first got the news, my first reaction was I was super disappointed. I really felt like it just sucked, like I really wanted to join this project. And the fact that I couldn't was, disappointing for me.
That does suck. Do you remember when you had that thought? What you were feeling in your body, or even what you notice now having that thought?
Yeah, and this happens to me a lot. I remember feeling like I was going to cry and tired, like immediately exhausted.
I'm even noticing now how your shoulders are kind of slumped and a frown has formed on your face. When you noticed those feelings, what was your urge? What did you want to do?
I really just wanted to go out of the situation, isolate by myself, go to the bathroom and just hide and cry. I got super quiet and I kind of, I guess I thought about giving up and just going home.
Andrea, what a painful situation. Thank you for doing such a great job describing your experience. So, we've identified the prompting event, your interpretation, what you were noticing in your body, and your action and action urges. What emotion do you identify with this experience? You may even use your DBT handouts to see which emotion in the handouts fit your experience.
I think definitely sadness, disappointment, like I mentioned, even maybe a little bit of grief, probably all of those.
Those emotions make total sense to me. It sounds like you were working really hard to get this fun and exciting project, and then you didn't get it. What was the after effects of this sadness? What did you notice as you sat quietly in front of your boss?
Well, my internal monologue just really started to blame myself. I started asking, why am I getting so upset about this? Started thinking, oh, my boss probably thinks I'm crazy. No wonder she doesn't want to give me this job. All of those kinds of thoughts.
Wow. So then you begin to notice some powerful negative self-judgments about your sadness. I wonder if a secondary emotion like shame began to appear.
Absolutely, for sure. I really just started to beat myself up. And that's when I really had that strong thought and urge that I just wanted to leave. And I even started to feel like I didn't deserve this job.
So now we've re-entered this cycle. And it sounds like a new prompting event occurred, namely the interpretation of your sadness. I must be crazy for feeling this sad. Which then I imagine caused a whole new series of biological changes and changes in your face, expression, and body language, and this new urge to quit, and then quitting behavior. And as you've identified, all of which falls within the constellation of shame. And then C. Stay tuned for future lessons on how to use skills to intervene at each step of this model to behave in service of your goals.
All right. Excuse me. So, with that being said, to make sure. Oh, give me just a second so I can grab the other model. So, with that particular thing that we just saw, right? In the caption, it talked about how she felt because she wasn't picked for that project. Have you ever had a time where something happened to you and you were really thought that it was going to happen for you, and then it changed, right? And then, I mean, you just knew you were going to get it, and then it didn't happen. Yeah. So when that happened, what was the emotion that you felt? Disappointed. So a lot of times when things like that happen to us, we the expectation is so high that when it happens, it's like, what do you mean I didn't that you didn't pick me? What do you mean? But I think a lot of times we don't put in place where when something doesn't happen, if this like the what ifs, right? Like, yes, you're supposed to go in expecting, yes, you're supposed to go in thinking that you're going to get a thing, but what if? So if it doesn't happen, what do you put in place of that? Not I'm ready to quit my job, but okay, I understand that this didn't happen, but will there be another opportunity for me to do something next time? To go deeper or to ask more, not just to stop there. And a lot of times, if we don't understand our emotions, we'll stop and we'll just go in and take on what someone else said. But if not, what I believe is that you keep going, you keep moving forward. Yeah.
Yes.
You don't have to agree with me.
No, I'm saying you just, it's true though.
Wanted to make sure I got that for you. So I know some of you are watching online, and we're gonna go into our slides. But I had to find them. They just kind of like disappeared on me. Let me put this in percent. All right, there we go. All right, so emotional modeling, a framework for understanding emotions, right? Oh, this is really small. Okay, there we go. So this presentation introduces emotional modeling, what we just saw. What they were talking about within that emotional modeling was that there are certain ways that we are able to gather our emotions. If you notice, the man, when he was talking to the lady, he presented back to her what he saw during the time where she was starting to feel the way she was feeling. But this is a framework to enhance both business and personal interaction. This is for my parents. I want them to know that this was put together for you because of our understanding emotions cohort. And so here we go. It's not gonna let me go to the next one. Maybe. I have to hold on. I do know what I'm doing. All right, let's see if this actually comes better. All right, so, all right, so why model emotions, the business and personal impact. So improving this says customer satisfaction. We'll say improving your relationship between your family, right? So your engagement enhances product delivery. This means that when you're with your family members and your engagement with them is enhanced, you'll be able to talk better, right? When you deal with family and deal with the communication skills that you have to do with family, it's a higher emotional intelligence. If you understand emotional intelligence, it's basically how you handle yourself in stressful situations. Core emotions. So joy is a core emotion. It states, well, happiness. Joy has nothing to do with happiness. Joy is very much different than happiness. Happiness is what we deem to be that is temporal, right? It is something that only happens when you get a reaction out of something. Joy is something that happens more or less because, right? When you have I'll give you an example. You ever just kind of sat back and thought about something that you did, and just the feeling that came behind it, that's more joy. Happiness is somebody bought you a purse, right? It might give you some sense of joy, but it's going to give you happiness, because if the purse gets destroyed or the purse gets old, you're not going to think about the purse like you first thought about the purse, right? I hope I'm making sense with that. Sadness is a state of unhappiness. That is true. Often associated with loss and can lead to empathy and understanding, right? Anger, a state of frustration, often associated with injustice and can drive change and assertiveness. Yeah. So have you ever you've been upset about something and you said, you know what? I'm gonna go tell them something because they really need to hear what I have to say. Or anger can actually push you into getting some things done, right? You ever went into your house and you looked at a pile of clothes that you've been looking at for like 5 days. This is me talking to parents, right? 5 days. And you said, I'm gonna do them pants, I'm gonna do them clothes, I'm gonna do them clothes. But then one day you just walk in the house and you look at them clothes and you say, I'm washing all these clothes, I'm getting all of this stuff done. Anger will actually push you to what is assertiveness, and that means to take charge, right? Mm-hmm. Fear does the same thing. A state of anxiety often associates with danger, with fear, but leads to caution and self preservation. Fear can keep you from making bad choices, right? Fear can make you not do something because you know that if you step into this thing, think about this. Okay, so you may one day feel like I need to hurry up and get to this destination, but you start driving real fast. The fear of getting a ticket will make you be more self-conscious and lead you to not do it, right? So that's actually a healthy fear. There are some fears that are debilitating that will put you in a state of not like maybe going outside or not doing some things. But there's also other forms of fear that are healthy. I know that might not seem um like a real thing, but it's actually a real thing. Intensity, the strength of emotion, is a low, medium, or high. It impacts decision making. Intensity. Balance, the pleasantness of the emotion. It is positive or negative influences that has an overall mood. Right, arousal. Mhm. The level of activation, calm versus excited, affects the reaction of speed. Arousal. I mean, yeah, there are some emotions that will get you, aroused, get you a little going. If you exercise real good, you get finished, you really are aroused, right? I, do we have? I'm not able to see the chat pretty much. So I'm trying to make sure I'm staying on task. If there's any questions, please don't hesitate to say, because we're here for it. We're here for it all. So introducing the emotional modeling framework. This is just an overview of the emotions, right? 1, observe. 2, identify. 3, model the emotion. And 4, respond. When you're modeling, when you're modeling positive emotions with your children, you want to make sure that you're showing them, I'm not telling you, be aggressive or show them anger. You're going to do that anyway as a parent. It's a natural response. But when you show those emotions, you have to be able to talk through them so you can tell your child, look, mom has had a hard day. Things have happened in this day, and I just want to make sure you understand that I wasn't mad at you, but what was happening in my day made me respond like this. And you have to talk through the emotion. Even when you're crying, if you're sitting and you've been having a bad day and you start to cry and your baby comes to you and say, Mama, why are you crying? Don't dismiss that acts, because what happens is if every time somebody, it's okay, baby, don't worry about it. You don't let them know that you're human. Mom had a situation at work today that wasn't very it wasn't very, it didn't make me feel very good, and it actually hurt my feelings. So that's why I'm crying. And that way, that when they have different things that come up, they'll know that when they cry or when they're angry, that it's okay to express that emotion in front of you. You never want your children to hold or hide things from you, because what happens with that is when that happens, they don't feel secure in a relationship with you. And that's a hard thing to handle as a parent. So in this case study, one, applying the framework for, they said customer service. This is not for customer service. This is for you as a parent. A customer calls, they are upset about a delayed order. Let's think about this. Your child comes home from school and they just throw their stuff across the floor, and you're like, what is going on? It says the agent identifies the anger. The parent identifies the anger. They ask the question, what's happening? They see that the child is frustrated about something. 3, it says acknowledge the emotion. You say, I understand that you're upset about something, but I need you to not throw your stuff across the floor because you might hurt someone by throwing stuff. If you could please pick them up and come sit down so we can talk about what's going on. Don't just jump at the emotion, because what happens with that is it makes an already bad situation worse, and we don't want that. We want to be able to diffuse the situation before it gets worse. So the outcome, it says the customer feels heard, issues are resolved effectively. The outcome is when you sit down with the child and you let them talk through whatever has happened and you hear them. I know, Mom, you might be cooking. I know, Dad, you might be into your show, but this right here requires that you engage yourself with your child on this level. So you come and you sit down with them and you talk with them, because then the child feels heard and the issue can be resolved. And when things happen again, that child will have no problem coming to you to talk to you about what has happened. And that's what we want. Using emotional models for them. So identifying the need. When the child threw the thing, when they threw their stuff on the floor, you ask them what's going on to identify the need. Design, give empathy. Don't do the, oh my God, what's wrong? Because children, they see through that. They know when parents are being fake. And you don't want someone to come and pity pat you. You want someone to come and embrace you and ask, what can I do to help? What's going on? And then you test the theory. You test what's happening in the moment to make sure that the child understands. So you tell them, so I understand that such and such happened to you at school today. What do you think that could have happened to make that situation better? Or what would you do? What could have probably made it worse? So they could see what could happen even long term than what happened in that moment. Sometimes we need to let our children see the outcomes of things that could have happened so that they'll know not to go down that road. Next steps. So training program. Now, I won't call it a training program. We'll call it parent time sessions. So what you'll do is you'll say, weekly, we're going to have some parent meetings. We're going to have a meeting in the living room. Somebody's going to be over snacks. Somebody else is going to be over drinks. And drinks meaning non-alcoholic. Hear me, please. Because this is with your children. You're having a family meeting with your children. And somebody's going to pick what we're going to do once the meeting is over. Because we want family meetings to be fun, right? We want to be able to come together, talk about the situation, and deal with the problems, and also be able to have a good outcome afterwards. Maybe watch a movie afterwards, maybe play a game, something that keeps the engagement going. It says feedback. So we talk about the emotions of talk about how the emotions feel and what we're going to do to help them. And then even in this situation, emotions don't always have to be bad emotions. We can talk about good emotions too, right? Because we want to be able to understand and identify between them both. And this all depends on what age group of children that you're working with. Of course, younger children, they really are dealing with a lot of emotions in their body. And then when they get older, they kind of go back to that. So there is a middle point to parents. stay updated on emotional research. Being a part of classes like this and connecting with other parents and talking about the things that you and your children are going through are very important. So I'm going to suggest that you get connected to Mothers of Joy Institute and other parent education programs, so that you could have accountability and also have other people who are talking to you too. Our parent groups are fun. We have a lot of fun. We eat together when we can get together. We go on outings together when we get a chance. But there's a lot that's going on in these classes. In these cohorts. But understanding your emotions is so important because it can save your life, right? I know that there are situations where people get so upset and so angry that they can't, they say they see red, right? So if you understand that that's something that happens to you in a situation, you'll know how to handle it or how to diffuse it if you are watching and paying attention to your body on a day-to-day basis and doing the work to mitigate those issues. That's the end of that presentation. We did that pretty good then. Oh, I'm proud of us. All right, so that might have seemed pretty fast. When I get to talking fast, when I get to going, I get to talking. I don't want to prolong the class, but I'm gonna. If you don't understand your emotion, then you won't be able to understand your child. That's right, Kaylee. If you don't understand your emotions, you won't be able to understand your child or your children's emotions. That's very true. And what happens is with that, if you're not in a way where you're learning how to process them or even grasp what's happening with them, you may miss something. And I'm not saying as a parent all the time that we know exactly what's going on all the time, because we don't. But what we do know is that if we're paying attention, we're going to be able to catch it, right? And then sometimes we're not. And that's okay too. Long as when it comes up again, you're able to say, "Oh wow, I remember that happening before, or I remember something similar happening like that, and now I think I know what to do to take care of it." Was there anything that you saw in the video or heard in the presentation that you didn't know before? No. Okay. All right. And was there anything that you felt that you could gain more of, or to give to somebody else?
Just be silent and just take a breath. That's my hard part.
Mhm.
I will clap off because today I almost did at work. And like if you push this box over here one more time, stop telling me what to do.
In situations, and sometimes we have to tell people like, look, no disrespect, but I need you to understand that I know what to do. I thank you for your assistance in this, but I'm okay. If I need any help, I'll be sure to ask you. And it's okay to say that. They may not take it well. A lot of people don't take stuff like that well because they feel like you're trying to like one up them, or what you mean you don't need me. It doesn't take all of that. Sometimes people want to do their work and they want to do what they got to do and move on with the next thing. But there are some instructors or people who feel like they have to give you. But then you can take another route too. You can let them say what it is that they want to say, and just keep doing what you're doing, because some things don't always require a response, right? All right. So this is class 2 of understanding your emotions, and I hope you all got something. Emotions are not easy, especially I'm a woman, so I can speak to this. Especially if you're a woman, we have a lot of different kind of emotions. We have emotions when we're experiencing our our monthly, I can say that. We have emotions when we're hungry. we we have emotions when when we're having a baby. Our body goes through different changes. So there's a lot of things to look at. But I just say, learn you. Become a studier of yourself. You know, pay attention to when you're tired. Pay attention to when you're feeling frustrated, or if somebody's upsetting you, how your head feels, or how you speak or respond. A long time ago, my issue used to be that I couldn't get my comebacks quick enough, and then this beautiful thing told me that I don't have to defend myself all the time. People are going to be people. People are going to be who they are, and since I understand that, there you go. They just, they're just going to be them, and we can't change people all the time, right? We can give them insight on what we need from them and what we expect from them, because what a wise person told me and something that I read is that you teach people how to treat you. If you allow them to say or do or be, you know, whatever they want around you, then that's what they're going to do. But if right off the bat you say, Miss Sharice has a bit of a thing about the word dear. It is in certain cultures, it is a term of endearment. When men call a woman, oh dear. I don't like women saying that to me, especially close to my age. Now, my grandmother is 90 years old. That's awesome, right? She's 90 years old. If she was to call me dear, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But I had to express that to someone this week that, I don't like, being called dear, because it is considered to be a term of endearment. It's almost like baby or honey.
I was just gonna hit you there.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to explain it. Yeah, so it's like those words. And I don't know if you kind of sometimes catch, some women are just used to saying that, oh baby, it's okay. Okay, honey, it's all right. And that's just their way of, being kind. But in my eyes, I feel like a person has to have a relationship with someone to call them those things. And that's my preference. So, and I have a right to my preference. And just like you have a right to that too. Some people don't like people to call them not their name, right? Like my name is Sharice, but some people don't like people to call them, like a girl, or or like I said, baby. And you don't have to accept that. You can express that that's something that you don't like. So, well, that's me on a little bit of my soapbox. I hope that I said some things, or that you got some things that was good for you. If so, you are more than welcome to be a part of these classes. We have 2 more in this month, that is understanding emotions, and then next month we go into understanding communication. So, with that being said, thank you so much for your time this evening, and I look forward to seeing you next week. I am so excited about the next 2 weeks, because I am going to press to be able to have my moms and the parents that I serve in person, so we can sit down with each other. I've been missing you guys, but I do understand that babies are sick, and I do understand that the weather is a bit of a thing. So no worries, don't worry. Long as you connect, and long as that you are getting what you need from the classes, I am happy about that. So I'm going to say, I'll talk to you later, and I will see you next week. Be sure to leave a message. Let me know if there's anything that you didn't get or you don't understand, and we will work through it together. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye for now.